Welcome, everybody, to your brand on Twitch. We are 5 members of the Twitch design team, 5 of 16, 17 really amazing people that have poured their hearts out for this event. And there we are. My name is Brian Veloso. I'm a designer on the social team on Twitch. I design things like Whispers 2.0, which was announced today at the keynote, following games, the emote selector, things of that nature. I stream on Twitch as well as Avalon Star.
And I'm Alan. I design for the Commerce and Bot team. For example, I designed the playlist that was announced today, and other things like the video manager, and probably other more features that help you and partners make money. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Elsie. I'm basically OMGLC everywhere. I also work on the Commerce and Bot team. I did the bot upload that was also announced today. Did the Teespring store and integrations and the Zola payment system.
John Pretorius, you just call me Shark. Lead design on the platforms, that's for mobile, Xbox, PlayStation apps.
And I'm Edward Scherf, aka Pixel Lumberjack, and I worked on the PlayStation app that was announced today, as well as working on mobile and console apps with Shark.
And you made those awesome new,
I also did some global
those global emotes, like copy this, props of that. So we have an hour to talk to you about brand, and brand is not a simple subject. We've been collectively, I believe, we've all been doing this for at least a decade each. So we love talking about brand, we love talking to you guys, making sure you guys not only look the best, but present yourself the best on Twitch. So if you have questions about this, we have design office hours that we'll talk about later, and you can find us around the conference. So hold on to your butts. Let's start by defining what brand is. And the Wikipedia definition of it is a brand is a name, a term, a design or symbol, or other feature that distinguishes its seller's product from those of others. So like, recognizable brands, like that one. Right? A brand on Twitch is a name, term, symbol, personal style, or reputation that distinguishes one broadcaster's product from those of others. Examples: Man vs. Game, Lyric, Towley, and a good favorite of mine, Jeff, because I designed that one. But brand isn't just a logo, and brand isn't just your notifications or overlays. Most importantly, brand is not the answer to becoming popular on Twitch. Brand is an investment into your broadcast future. It complements and reinforces your presence, giving it staying power. So with that, brand, we're going to talk about how brand is your reputation. And we're going to start that by talking about something you're familiar with, and that happens to be why you're all here today. And yes, I know it's a logo, but work with me. So there are many things that make up the Twitch brand that you know today. You have the logo. Thank God it's not Zarth. I have agreement with it. Yeah, ZarthCon was great. I mean, I see the alien in the front row here. Totally. Anyway, we have purple as our color. It was something that when the Twitch brand was created or redesigned during E3, it was something that was it wasn't prevalent in the gaming industry. You never saw a purple site. Glitch, a little glitch there, is also part of the brand. But it's not only that, it's also our emotes. Something that's uniquely us. And things that we've been trying to do ever since, for the 4 years that we've been here, is try to create more elements that connect us with you guys, with the world of gaming, what we represent. And things like our brand team doing these lovely 3D islands that you've been seeing everywhere in motion and in the die cuts outside. And also the motion stuff that you've been seeing recently, and that froze. So brand is about you. It is your real name or handle. It's what you like if you like, opening crates, or if you like opening decks in Hearthstone, or playing precision platformers. It's also what you play. But it isn't only about you. Twitch is unique in that a broadcaster's community has such an immense impact over the brand of a channel. How many people here would figure that how many people here feel like they can consider themselves a broadcaster with a community around them? It's a good number of people. How many people have had that community define who they are on Twitch? Not just at the beginning, but coming forward. Still a good number of hands. Your brand starts encompassing your community, and in turn, your community begins to have a hand in its growth. So it's not solely how you see yourself, but more so how your community, how others see you, and how they contribute to it. So before we move on, here's a tip: create a mood board. And so, but wait, what is a mood board? Well, Scoots. A mood board is a collage consisting of images, text, colors, etc. Something like this. And it doesn't have to look like this. It's literally, what colors do I like? What are words that communicate to me what I want my brand to exude? Anything you see online, put it on a site like gomoodboard.com. You can use that to gather your thoughts, gather those colors that you like, those pictures, those pieces, those items around, the inspiration pieces that can get your thoughts going about what you want your brand to be. And it's great for sharing with artists, and we'll go into that later. So brand is it's the entire package. And while there are no right or wrong ways, there are effective ways to contribute to your brand story. And we're going to start with content. Content the way we define content is encompassing, being a persona, adopting something that takes your brand forward. And one of the best examples I have is at MeJP. Way back when he was doing StarCraft, how many people remember State of the Game? Good number of people remember State of the Game, good. Role play? Woo! Yeah? Dropped frames? I mean, they're doing. These are all alternative shows on Twitch, and JP has devoted himself to doing alternative content to bring a sense of variety on Twitch that doesn't necessarily have to do with showing a game on the screen. The other one is Futureman Gaming. How many people know of Futureman, of course? And this is a persona, obviously. A persona, taken, absorbed. He is the embodiment of the future past of gaming. So I'm sure when you came in here that you were like, oh, well, Brian said brand is not just overlays, but you probably came in here thinking, oh, they're probably going to talk about overlays. So we're going to take a little bit of time to talk about overlays. And obviously, overlays assist in both communication of brand and delivery of information that needs to be conveyed to viewers. And there's so many different, we've all spent time on our own overlays. I mean, one of the big reasons I voluntold these for to come up with me is because we are all broadcasters. We have all broadcasters on Twitch in one respect or another. So we all have a sense of what not only looks good but functions well as an overlay. And some examples of the types of overlays that we see are like Lobos Jr. and Man vs. Game, and so many people that just have like the green screen webcam only overlay. Then there are people like this guy that have don't watch him. He's that have chat as an element, as a very alive sort of element on the overlay, because like looking back for me doing this, I can look back at a VOD and say, you know, I can see the chat react when I'm watching a VOD or when I'm showing people like my wife or my relatives, like, hey, this is what happened when I got shot in the face by a friend of mine who was faking me out. Then there are others, like 360 Chrism, who's a member of the team, the Wigglers, and he takes Pokemon Bingo to a new level by having an overlay that shows you the stuff he's completed as he progresses through a race of Pokemon. There are other people like Smokaloke and so many other streamers out there that theme their overlays to what they're playing at the time, try to give that element of, you know, theming the entire experience. And then there's information density. Like I kind of when I saw DJ Wheat talking about Twitch plays Pokemon earlier today, I don't know about you guys, I kind of missed that interface. The new one is just, I mean, it's dense, and I guess, you know, people could, well, this is a good example. And I mean, if you guys have any,
know what's going on there.
no? I know Blue Team won. There's the time there, Pokemon Coliseum, there's another little game in the lower right-hand corner, but it's functional, it's stuff.
Well, I guess just to add to one of these is that I think what's really important here as a takeaway is that none of these people or none of these channels have created these fantastic overlays, including this one, on their first iteration. I actually forgot how many iterations you went through, Brian, for your own personal overlay.
Well, I'm known for redesigning stuff every 3 to 6 months, so even if I'm completely fine with it, yeah, we're all the same way. It's like, it's perfectly fine. The overlay is perfectly fine, but I want to redesign. It's just the curse of being, like, you know, devoted to, you know, the art and function of design is just like, it's never good enough.
Yeah, so feel free to iterate. Don't feel like, you know, you should, you know, stick with a single solution. But what I think is important is that while you iterate with reason, not just iterating because you want to, like, freshen up your brand.
Yeah, don't do what I'm doing.
Yeah, you should always try to optimize and think about your community and how it works on, like, different platforms, for example.
So with that, we want you to take away being able to question the importance of every element in your overlay. Does it serve a real purpose? How many viewers am I informing? How many viewers am I annoying? Am I doing this because everybody else is? I've been part of a great many podcasts, one of them being the Jackass podcast, which is run by Jack LaFear on Saturdays. And one of the things we talked about a lot was the fact that, like, the history of the green screen, right? You have people like Man vs. Game do the green screen, and everybody has a green screen. Like, is that something I'm doing because it will provide meaningful impact to my channel, or is it something I'm doing because it looks good? I mean, they're both valid answers, but it's something you should be asking yourself with everything that you put on there. And with that, let's talk about PowerPoint slides. Let me go into this saying this was the hardest thing I had to do for this presentation because it's beautiful. If you ask a designer to design something, we'll design something like the other slides. If you ask a designer to design something bad, it's really difficult. So there's a lot of stuff on this screen, including a copy pasta that I actually took from. It's that actual copy pasta. Anybody recognize that one? Yes, we got one in the back. Good, you're awesome. So, like, we can make this look better, but it's still dense. What is it telling you? It's telling you that somebody was salty. Somebody they're watching was salty. There's information up there that doesn't make any sense, like TwitchCon America, or, you know, that the slide 420, or that Kappa is love, and that the PJ Salt leader is you, Kappa. You know, this is stuff that isn't necessarily needed in the but find the essence of what you're trying to say at any given time, whether you're getting a donation message, which we'll talk about, a tip, which we'll talk about a little bit later. Anything that you display, I think a lot of us agree that you should display it contextually. Taking it something like I Mind It Perfectly, like a punchline. Deliver it in one really quick sort of, you know, that moment, because it's like you're flicking through TV, right? You're watching stuff for, I mean, what's TV these days? But when we used to watch TV, you know, you flick through channels and you'd be like, you have 5 seconds. You have less than 5 seconds to capture my attention. If it looks like something that I'm going to have to take my time reading before focusing on the content, I'm going to move on. So focus. Avoid information overload on your overlays. Some sites do need, some channels need to do that, like Twitch Plays Pokemon. It's really hard to take that much information and try to make it contextual. But for the 98% that aren't trying to run 50 games on one channel at once, focus, and also pay attention to typography. Because every time you put Comic Sans on your site, one of us cries. You don't want that. Save your Bible thumps for when they're really needed, and don't make us put them out there.
Another important point about overlays is that keep in mind that your game might also have a lot of UI and a lot of noise. So any additional overlay that you put over top of the game is also going to add to that noisy stream that you have.
Right, and different games have different game elements throughout the UI, so your overlay might not work for one game when you go to play another.
And make sure the game's bigger than your face. Right? I want to see the game.
Also, kind of going back to what we kind of briefly discussed over the morning's keynote, is that Twitch is everywhere. So it's not just like the web desktop, it's also on mobile, it's on PlayStation, it's on Vita. It's going to be incredibly difficult to optimize your overlay for all platforms and all like screen sizes, but you should kind of keep that in mind. Make sure that your overlay is clean and kind of decluttered so that people can still read or at least know what's going on in your overlays on those different platforms.
Moving on from that, with regards to start, break, and ending screens, go nuts. I know a lot of broadcasters in here, and there are a lot of start, break, and ending screens that I admire and have been inspired by myself from. You should be able to be inspired and let your brand just loose in these screens. But when it comes to being at the 95% of the time when you're watching a game, or you're the one playing the game and that's the overlay that's up, I think Edward has a great example of using a chatbot to exploit your Twitter information.
Yeah, information doesn't always have to persist throughout the entire overlay. Like, you have technology that allows you to remotely control OBS through chat commands, and that allows you to, you know, when someone, for example, needs to know information about your shirt, they type it in, they get a chat message, and they also get an overlay up on the screen that tells them where to find it, what it looks like. Stuff that is important, but you don't want to leave a giant picture of your shirt on your gameplay all the time.
So we're going to move on to notifications. And that's definitely another big piece of an overlay. It kind of what gives the overlay meat. Otherwise, it would be static. Some examples of that. Rotato, for instance, has his brand in the lower left corner of the screen, and when a follower comes, a sub comes, that animates. That it talks. You know, it comes in and it leaves, and then the rest then it fades into. It becomes a little bit translucent afterwards. There are other notifications like that. I guess a lot. I don't know why, you know, some people are so like sadist, or masochists about this. Is that getting scared by how many people like scare themselves with their? Yeah, we have a few people here. Why do you do that? No? Okay, but you got entertainment. Fair. So inexpensive gamer here scares himself with the Boshy spider sound. The thing is, he never sees it coming, so you'll see the little, his little emoticon like go across the screen, and then it'll be chased away by the spider, and then he'll do that. And then you have people like Professor Broman who have completely married themselves to what they play. As in his entire overlay, if you've never seen it before, it is the Destiny UI themed to him, and it is one of the most amazing feats I've seen. The fact that he takes every element. If you look in the lower right-hand corner, for every sub, they're building a raid. Little pieces like that, giving terminology to your brand like that helps immerse your audience in what they're viewing and becoming better members of the community. Why I'm saying this is that there was a time in the internet when it looked like this. And this was around 2004. I used to design WordPress themes, and when WordPress 2.3 first came out, that is what the internet looked like. Because everybody used the default. And it was sad. It was depressing. But then it started getting better because people started using customization options. So if you're going to use a third-party site to host your notifications, spend time with their customization options. What we're trying to drive in here is that we hope by you being in here and the people that are watching at home that you care enough about your brand to spend time on it. Spend time with these customization options. Expand your mind a little bit a day, playing with something, getting it to work. I've heard so many stories of people playing with Knight's OBS chat overlay and being able to paste little bits of CSS to be able to create animations and stuff. And the smile it puts on their face just makes me really happy because they experimented with it. And that's how all of us came to be up here, is by experimenting with things.
Yeah, just try and put a little bit of yourself in every part of your UI and your presence on the internet, and it'll soon identify you. Like, if you have janky pieces of your personality in your brand or like in your UI, it's going to reflect on your person. Like, I don't know, you always want to have the best picture of yourself and be yourself by getting into every piece of part. I think that's pretty key. Like, plus, there's the satisfaction of knowing, like, I built that. Like, that's someone didn't do that for me. Like, this is me.
Yeah, we're all not just designers up here, but we all love to build, and there's no better feeling than like the little feeling I was just telling you about being able to get your chat overlay to work and things like that. Use that energy to carry you forward and customize other things. Which brings me to the people that you're trying, the services that you're trying to customize. If you offer or are interested in offering notification products, in this specific example, put in the work, please, put in the work and provide diverse themes and or customization to avoid what I was showing you with what happened to WordPress. There was one theme that everybody liked and everybody picked it. If you take the time to offer these options, everybody in this room will be better off for it. So next we're going to get to emoticons, and I'm going to start by telling you a story about this emote. Yeah, this one. It is called Churlude. It's from Cherno TV. You can use it for things like that's lewd, senpai, etc. The thing with when I first started really chatting on Twitch was that I saw it increasingly amount of places that was everybody subbed to this guy. I don't know who this guy is. I had never watched him. I just saw this emote, and it was literally everywhere. It was in every channel I had visited. The entire variety community was filled with this, and I believe this was one of the first lewd emotes out there. And now, obviously now there's a variety of lewd emotes, but I saw the emote being used so much that led me to find and then later subscribe to Cherno. And emotes can have major contributions or effects on your brand. Take this one, for instance. This lovely guy is getting roasted today. But whenever people see him on a Twitch stream, they all spam this face. And that global emote, that face of spams, has come to define him, whether it is a positive effect or a negative effect on him. But it still has come to. That is the community then taking your image and using it the way they see fit. So remember that emotes are global, in that you subscribe, people subscribe to you, or if you have like a BTT V emote or a Franker Z emote, you are displaying those emotes to people that have those plugins or have those subscriptions. There's a lot of competition out there, and there's a lot, so make sure, keep in mind diversification. For instance, myself, I don't have a failfish emote, I have a head desk emote. It's just little things like that. Emotes can be tried, taken back. It's another thing where iteration is really important. But they ultimately tell the story about you and your community. So let's strive to fulfill those needs first. A lot of new partners that I talk to, the first things they do is a fail emote, a love emote, a hype emote, a 1010 emote. But is that really serving the needs of your community? And even if you're not a partner, or you're aspiring to be a partner, or using the services that allow you to use emotes, still keep that stuff in mind, because they all communicate what your brand is to your users and to the people that can then see them. But let's face it, if you want to have a successful emote set on Twitch, just make cats. What can I say? So many cat emotes on Twitch. So next, I'm going to hand it off to Elsie, who you learned earlier did the Teespring story to talk about shirts.
Yeah, just a quick note about shirts. How many people in here are currently wearing a broadcaster shirt? Quite a bit of you. Me too. The great thing about being able to create a shirt for yourself and for your community is that it goes beyond just being on Twitch, right? You can have your audience wear these shirts to conventions like TwitchCon, like PAX, and it really gets your brand out there beyond just Twitch TV and beyond the internet.
Not just shirts too, but any. I think some of the greatest things I've seen from broadcasters are not just the shirts that we offer or that they would offer on Spreadshirt or Designed by Humans, but also I know Casper's sitting up here in the front, and he hands out little keychains. It says "Notice me, Senpai." Being able to diversify, even if you if you're not a partner, you can't get access to shirts. This is more like a merchandise slide, and that being able to create merchandise to give out at people like at TwitchCon, it's always fun to take what is a digital experience and then make it tangible. And it's definitely the greatest thing to do for, I'm sure, any broadcaster you talk to that has made even as something as small as a business card to a plushie to a keychain, and say how happy that makes them. You know, that just drives you, that inspires you, that motivates you to go forward with your brand. And speaking of making things and having things represent your channel, we're going to go over mascots. This being Neffy of Nerdfusion, but we're going to go back to our good friend Cherno, and as a good example of mascots. Cherno, if you don't know, is a character from the Toho games, which is a bullet hell series of games, a genre of games. And he pretty much took the character and revolved literally 90% of his emotes to it. And the same goes for Admiral Baru, who plays Borderlands, Destiny, etc., that he has this character named Rescue Girl. And it was part of the Rescue Force. That is his brand. It has nothing to do with him. It has everything to do with her and the panda. And actually, these are his newest versions of emotes. He's seen this on Twitter, and it's like, I want to kind of promote these, so we're able to get that to work. But exuding that style in both, not just emotes, but in the panels that he does, being able to incorporate that character into everything. And I think the best part of those of going this route is being able to see the fan art that comes out of it, seeing all the fan art that's come out of Rescue Girl. People in his community have done a Rescue Girl. It was amazing to research, and it was amazing to see. So speaking of panels.
Well, actually, before we speak about panels, I think a common question that you guys might have right now is that, do I need mascots? Or what happens if I don't have, partnership and I don't have an emoticon? I think these are just really good examples of, very consistent branding across very different multiple channels of expression. So we're not saying that emoticons is necessarily going to strengthen your brand. We're not saying that mascots will necessarily make your brand more powerful. But whenever you have these opportunities, you should always take advantage of it and make sure that you can present yourself in a really consistent manner. So try to hire, for example, a dedicated artist to work on your brand. Try not to switch them around too often, and make sure that you have a common theme or like a common, I guess it'll be a little bit too philosophical, but like a common philosophy that you kind of want to present to your community and other viewers.
Yeah, one thing we didn't want to do with this panel is just make it seem like, this is just a partner thing. Like there's an underlying theme to all of this, and it's the fact, it is that consistency. It's being able to find something, latch onto it, and then make your channel all about it.
Yeah, so for example, you may not have partnerships, so you may not have access to emotes, but maybe you're an active member of some forum, like in a game forum, and they have signatures, for example. Make sure that signature is also very consistent with what you have on your Twitch channel. I mean, that's also a channel of where you can express yourself, so make sure you do that.
Yeah, I think some great examples of that. It's like Cobalt Streak, who plays. I saw the gentleman with the hat, and I couldn't help but think of Cobalt Streak with his hat. Like he didn't start wearing hats when he became a partner. Like that was what he did that was his brand as he was making his way to that partnership. Like partnership is just as an aside, partnership is just a phase it's a step in the journey. But you should have your brand as you pass that mark.
So I guess going back to panels now, panel is also a place where you should definitely express yourself, and I know that many of you have already been doing it. We've seen a lot of creative examples. When we first designed panels, it was just a markdown placeholder so that you can put your maybe introduction in there, but sooner or later we realized that our community took away with it and then started including things like the top donators or included introduction of their emotes and things like that. So try to come up with very creative ways to utilize that space. But yeah, I mean, we don't necessarily have any forceful recommendation that you should take, but the space is up to you. We've given you the tools, so run with it.
Yeah, there's just so many ways to cut panels that it's just go with it. If you're happy with your panels as they stand, look for examples around Twitch, around your community that impress you and that inspire you, and then make those your own. We're gonna move on to brand being culture. We're gonna move on to sort of the community portion of what your brand is, and we're gonna first take a time warp back to this slide. Brand isn't being not solely how you see yourself, but how others see you and how they contribute to it. Oftentimes your community will create common branding elements for you, such as catchphrases, bot responses, memorable quotes. How many people in here have a quote bot? How many people in here have like more than 50 quotes in that quote bot? Yeah, it's like, we are people that love to be made fun of. We are masochists, and our chat love to be sadists, so it's just, we lean into it. We do these things because we want to provide more entertainment for our viewers and our fans. So you're not only doing that just to get a laugh out of it, but it tightens that community that you have, being able to relive moments or to have those catchphrases like "Welcome to mankind," or "You have the right to remain profane," or "Enjoy your new pair of slacks." Like being able to take your name and make an entire series of, I love Slackaholicus because "Welcome to Slackers Incorporated," "Enjoy your new pair of slacks," "Slack off." Like those are things that I will always remember from his channel. Because he not only has created these phrases, but he's married to them. Those are, you really see the look on his face when he's giving you a salute when you resub, or when you're just following or giving him a host or giving him a raid.
Can we talk about your first catchphrase, Brian?
Yeah, tell us about your catchphrase.
You really just stopped me from pressing the button. There's no slide for this, but he's been waiting to. Okay, so we have time. We've been going through this a little fast. So we have time to tell a little story. I was partnered in January of this year, and Jack the Fear, who I had mentioned before, had this great system. Another way to use our emotes is doing tribute emotes, and that's something we couldn't make a slide for. And he dedicates these emotes to people he believes are fit for partnership, people who are on the way to partnership. And at my time, he had picked myself and another broadcaster named Skin Teen. So we had two emotes called Jack Teen and Jack Avalon, and Jack Avalon was literally my face. And it was just a pixelized emote by my face created by an amazing artist, Red Guardian. And so when you get partnership, he gives you that emote as your first emote. And since I was working with my artist when I got partnership, I wanted, as every partner in here knows, that first day you want to go up with your first emote, boom, you want to get all the hype and stuff. So the only emote everybody had, the people from Jack's channel who were supporting me and the people from my channel, was my face. So in this bluster of subs that I was getting, the only thing I could say was, "Welcome to the Crusaders, get faced on." Get faced on by the chat, and the chat would just fill up with my face, and I was just like sitting, what have I done?
Words of iteration, right?
Yes.
You iterated on
Yeah, I iterated on that. It's like, it was almost like, I'm tired of seeing my face. But all I can say, because I was inspired by Cherno, who said, he has an emote, a little honking emote, and he says, get honked on by the chat, and I loved it. So I'm like, the first thing that came to my mind is get faced on by the chat. So this guy, he absolutely loved that phrase. He's like, Brian, we have to talk about that, brand talk.
Yeah,
like,
it should come back. Get faced on
Get
should come
faced on
back.
should come back.
Yes.
Community affecting brand.
Now you have to do it.
Now I have to.
You guys are basically
I
waiting
have
for
a
the moment
story
where
about
brand is
this
being
later.
created.
Let me get.
It's an evolution of your brand.
Is that evolution? We'll talk about that later. The final form of a community, when we were making these slides, is the family. It's when the members of the community not only identify with the community, but also evangelize it, creating even stronger personal bonds, not just within the community, but outside of it, bringing other people into that family. And I know of I see so many familiar faces of people who can who have achieved that status. And it doesn't matter what size broadcaster you are in this. Having a family is just having people that you can come up to TwitchCon. Those are the people that you have wanted to meet for your entire life. You know, those are the people that are always in chat, whether you're having a horrible day or a great day. Those are the people that contact you on Twitter, on Discord, or on Skype. And examples of when we were talking about examples of family can only fit two. So we use Sacriel, which is your example.
I think a really good thing Sacriel does, he calls it the home of the 42nd, so he sticks with the military theme. And so the longer you're a subscriber, you kind of rank up in the military. And he also plays Arma, DayZ, a bunch of military games most of the time. So that's a good way to, the game that you play more often, have that be part of your brand and kind of play with that.
Yeah, it creates a positive cycle, right? Where the game reinforces your brand and your brand reinforces the game you're playing. Yeah.
And then taking elements from that game, like having that military thing where you do rank up, it's very point systems are now very popular with point bots, I might say, are very popular with some streamers now, and like being able to use that as a way to have viewers rank up is really interesting development that you guys have done. And the other one is Zconia. How many Berserkers do we have in here? Definitely one of my favorite communities, Zeke. If you've seen him either on Twitch or on the Twitch channel or on his channel, Zconia, the Berserkers are very, very tightly knit. One of the tightest communities I've seen on Twitch, and I definitely wanted to include him up here on that. So brand is aware. Brand isn't just a logo, or it isn't just a static piece. It isn't just a graphic that lives on your overlay. It's something that is always changing, that is forever changing. As long as you're a broadcaster, your brand will always be evolving. And we're gonna go to Lyric on this. This is one of Lyric's most recent Be Right Back screens. But if you go to Lyric's VODs, if you go way back in time, this wasn't always his brand. He was if you guys can help me out here, being like DayZ.
I think Lyric is a pretty good example of how your brand can change over 2 years.
Yeah.
So he used to just play DayZ. Actually, he came from World of Warcraft, and DayZ. And his whenever you subscribe, it's welcome to the Bean Bandits, because you like beans and DayZ. I don't know. But he changed to cats for some reason. I guess cats are cute. The lettuce cat was a huge thing from the beginning. But if you go through his past broadcasts or highlights from the past few years, it's changed quite a lot. And he's also changed to become more of a variety streamer as well, which maybe plays into why it changed.
But one of the coolest things about the evolution of Lyric's brand is the fact that the lettuce cat is probably the only cat that was coming into the when it was just all cats, but like the cats inspired emotes, which then in turn changed his brand, in that he now integrates like beautiful renditions of his cats as his brand. Like this is how you identify Lyric now, not the skull logo if you're familiar with it at all. The one I showed earlier, that's not what he identifies with anymore. That's not what you think of. When you think of Lyric, you think of the lettuce cat and all the other cats that he has on the brand, so having that evolution. And now we're going to get to my story of how a brand became centered around a green fruit. So I've gone by Avalon Star for a very long time. I created the name in 2000 because I liked cars and I liked astronomy. You can take that as far as you want. You can ask me that later. I've gone through many iterations, which were very kind of like weird, modern, metallic themes. Like this is what I call the Phoenix logo. This is the second version of it, but I've had something like that for a very long time. And when I was coming into Twitch, I was like, I put this everywhere, right? I put this on my overlays. Like I'm gonna evolve around this because that's who I am. That is what I was. This is what I used when I was a freelance designer. So I'm gonna come to Twitch with this.
Are those wings?
Those are wings.
Oh, I thought it was a helmet.
No, well, it can be. Those are wings. Yeah. It's a phoenix without a head. It's really weird, really abstract. But when I was up and coming as a broadcaster, there was a guy that who's probably watching right now, going by the name of Matt Kirby, who was like, so Avalon, when you get partnership, I want your first emote to be avocado. But you know, so everybody was like, oh yeah, you can get AVA. Who's using AVA? Obviously, AVA was taken by another much larger streamer. But so he made this comment, I believe in Slackaholics' chat, and people called me Avalon Senpai at the time, or still do, because I guess my Twitch status or whatever, being staff and part of the community. So then they changed it to this. And so people started calling me Avocado Senpai, and hey, Avocado Senpai noticed me, and things like that. And then I was like, okay. I was just sitting there. I'm like, my wife's in the front row. I'm like, I don't like this meme at all. Like, it's just like that's not. I want this guy to be my, I want like modern theme. I want it to be slick. But no, it was. It was this. So then, partnership came up, and it was like, Avocado Senpai got partnership, and then so like I need to make an emote, and so I got the prefix Avalon. So why not do Avalon Star? Why not have my name be one of the emotes? And then so I guess I was drunk at the time or whatever. I was playing Drawful, so I did this, and. So I'm like, okay, I'll take a picture of it because it's an avocado and a star. Like, okay, I got this. So the brand became this the pixelated version and then the new drawn version, and actually there was also a plushie. So. Evaluate and reevaluate the state of your brand. Does it suit you? Does it still suit your community? And be willing to embrace memes that benefit the brand. And make sure to keep them sane. I hear the people laughing out there. That was for you.
In case you didn't know, he broke the site.
Stop it. It was supposed to be subtle.
Not subtle.
I broke the site with a semicolon. Moving on. So what now? We want to provide, and we want to get right down to it. If you're looking to evolve your brand, and you haven't done the move, or go to you haven't done the move, one of the best services, you haven't done to actually build sort of a entire picture of your site. But we also want to connect you with artists and designers that are looking for work. I know it's something that we've had to deal with for a long time. Like a lot of us were doing freelance work, and you've done freelance work. I've done that. So actually connecting a client to a designer is something we want to help you with. So our Twitch on Twitch on Reddit has a mega thread available for your perusal, and I created a short link there for you, bit.ly/art-megathread. You can take a picture of that if you like for further use, or you can watch the VOD. But we also wanted to feature some artists that I put out a Twitter link a tweet. That's what I call it. I put out a tweet.
Wow.
I've been using the service for 8 years. I should know this by now. I put out a tweet asking people for if artists are. It was a very vague, like, are you an artist? And if you're not, and are you available? And if not, retweet this so we can get more artists. So we were able to get a bunch of artists for this, and this is like, surprise, I don't actually need work, it's for you guys. Because everybody was like, Brian, what do you need? I'm like, nothing. I just need to know you exist. So people like Ugubear, at Ugubear, recently partnered, really great streamer on the creative directory who did emotes for Jeff who's in the audience, as well as Professor Broman, and so many other streamers. Nospi as well. So these are all going to be part of the list, so I'm going to kind of go through them real quick. But these are all people. What I want you to get out of this is if you like what you see on the screen, that you take down their Twitter name and or Twitch handle, and so you can contact them now or later. Have them in your mind if you want to contact them. Demoria, Just Sketching. Joy Girl, who's also in the audience right now. You can raise your hand. You're gonna get flooded with work later. I know that's Elsie picked that image when she was going through these lessons. That's actually supposed to be me. The Lady May, who also does a lot of pixel-like emotes. Ride Guardian, who's done a lot of emotes for a lot of pixel emotes as well. For like Call of Cthulhu, Jack LaFear, and myself with the face on thing. And Dark Darren, and there's so many other artists that we couldn't fit into because like the tweets have kept coming since I tweeted. So I created a list at bit.ly/TwitchCon design. So that's literally a Twitter list of all of the people I have mentioned, plus all of the people who had contacted me afterwards saying that they're available for work. Look at that list, do your research into those artists, find one you like, and they're looking for work right now. Text them right now if you want to. So with that, we've gotten to the Q&A, or as the four of us like to call it, the Q&Allen. So we can all ask questions. So if anybody has questions, please step up to the mic, to the lovely Yost in the middle. You are mid lane, right, Yost? Okay, yeah, see, mid lane, it works well. Love the Dota player. I had to make the Dota joke, man. I gotta represent.
All right.
Go ahead.
Hi, sorry, that wasn't expected.
Hi.
So I am actually almost entirely brand new. I haven't, so the question is, we're working on our brand. We're trying to set this kind of stuff up, and we're gonna make lots of mistakes. Is there anything that, at this point in time, that I should try to get right the first time? Is there anything that I shouldn't care about and just keep on incrementally improving?
Well, okay, I'll go back.
Q&Allen.
Yeah, Q&Allen. So, in terms of like phases, in terms of the growth, I think early phases are really important to get your brands right, but it doesn't have to be perfect. Like, if you have the critical mass, if you're say Biggest Lyric or Summit 1G, you can put like a red box and call it your brand, and people will love it. In the early phases, I think what's really important is to make the brand relatable to you. It doesn't have to be the prettiest thing. It doesn't have to be super noticeable. But when people come to your stream, for example, they should be able to recognize why your brand is designed in such a way. I mean, you could have like rainbow colors or flaming text. It doesn't really matter in terms of, I think, visual fidelity. But making it relatable to what you're streaming, the content you're streaming, I think is going to really, really help. And then eventually down the road, once you have a greater audience, or if you have a greater resource to use, like dedicated artists, or maybe a dedicated designer, then at that point you can kind of start refining and iterating your brand to make it better and prettier.
Okay, so sort of like to start out, just make something that at least makes it so that people confuse you with someone else. And then moving forward, just iterate and see how things go as we've been talking about the last hour.
It is a highly iterative process. Like we can't build products at Twitch without coming out to you guys and asking if you want these things. Yeah. Like you don't build your brand in a vacuum.
Okay.
Keep throwing it out there, keep iterating.
I would also try and, as much as you can, put your personality into your brand. Because it's much harder to fake a brand that isn't necessarily part of your personality, right? You're gonna always have to be trying to be that person or be that type of gamer or, that sort of thing. So know your market, know yourself, and try and work within that group.
Okay, cool, thank you very much.
Good luck.
Thanks.
How's it going?
So I work a lot more on the programming side of things, and designing the brand, working with people to design the brand is always challenging because I'm not a designer or an artist, and I wish I was better at it. Is there any one thing that you guys look at when you're first starting a brand? Is it the overall design, or is it any one particular piece that you focus on and build around?
I would say the theme of your brand is huge. Like we've mentioned this multiple times, right? Find like your name, kind of find something like your little niche and play around that when you start with your brand. I don't think visuals come first. It's more just get faced on, or I mentioned them multiple times. But find things like that you can relate to yourself and build around that, rather than deep diving into any visual stuff.
Yeah, the other thing is like, what do you want the brand to do for you, right? For example, I've iterated basically my overlays down to a point where I don't really have an overlay, and that's mainly because I stream in the creative directory. So I want people to see the thumbnails of my art, like bigger than like my overlay itself. And I think that's most important for me, and that's why I don't have an overlay, for example. So make sure that you kind of prioritize like what you want to get out of your brand. Maybe you can be completely opposite, where you want your overlays to shine, and you want your overlays to kind of grab people first. Maybe that'll work for you. So try to find out and prioritize first.
Yep. Thank you.
Hi. Okay. My question is actually really more about like the difference, or really the decision between iterative branding, like hey, making tweaks, making changes. Like for example, a broadcaster in Trevelyan who went from the travel channel to Different Trav already kind of had all that going, kind of shift a little bit.
Yeah.
Versus rebranding. You know, there are broadcasters sometimes just go starting off like almost like a page one rewrite of who they are. What are your guys' opinions on this? I mean, I'm asking.
Yeah, that's all style. I would say like there are companies out there like when eBay introduced their new logo, it's like a big thing. We have found our new selves, and now we are the new eBay. Like then they revealed a new logo with that. Well, you'll have other companies that will just, I mean, I'm talking websites, of course, they'll just change it. It's all in how you feel you should be able to promote it. A lot of broadcasters love hype. They love being able to build hype and have those communities build hype around them. So it is very common to do more of the big rebrand because of that hype that's created. For my, wow.
Wow, where are your banners
Anyway, telemarketer. Anyway, yeah, I'm more of an iterative person. I like changing little things as I get them done. But a lot of the bigger broadcasters that I know, a lot in this room, love doing that big pop.
I would say be careful with rebranding because people form a connection with your brand. So if you go change completely, people may not, hey, I don't like this new thing. People don't like to change much. So if you go through these little steps working towards a bigger goal, I think that's ultimately better. A rebrand it's probably better when your current brand is not working out. Like you don't have a connection with it, or people don't find it cool, I guess.
Maybe you're no longer a variety caster and you've started focusing on one game and you're starting to go towards more of that community. That's a good time to probably maybe look at rebranding. But there's also like it said, small changes can have big effects. So like just thinking about seeing someone change their profile picture on Twitter and scrolling through and you're like, oh, I didn't even realize that person was there anymore. Like, because they've just changed a small piece and it has such a dramatic effect. So yeah, it's interesting.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you.
Hello. You actually showed a bit of my work in the beginning. I work with JP, so I've done all the web stuff and other dot frame stuff. And my question is, we are starting to move things away from just being graphical overlays. We're now moving into more dynamic things with CSS, HTML, JavaScript. And what is your opinion on this?
I love it. I mean, when I found that OBS had a browser plugin, I was like, everything changed for me. Like I can just experiment and play around in there. I mean, it's been intimidating for a lot of broadcasters because they want that, but they don't know it. But that's where we we as a community can help each other find people like you and us to help with those things, people with our skills. It's time for web developers to be able to now introduce themselves into our community to be able to carry on that, because the whole thing about contextual information, being able to show a tweet when somebody types spam Twitter, or showing like a top donator getting bumped or bopped, being able to show that contextual information depends on web services and things of that sort. So I think that is the future of it for a lot of people.
Yeah, and web languages have come to a point where you can do a lot of great animation without having to render out this, very static now lower third, for example. You can do a lot of that with CSS and adding scenes remotely through OBS. Very, very handy.
There's so many ways. There's so many ways to learn CSS these days. You have it a lot easier than we did when we were coming up.
Yeah, I mean, you can even just browse CodePen and find an animation that you enjoy and just start ripping it apart and making it your own.
Yep.
It's pretty.
Great job, by the way. I love your work.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Trumpeter. I work with Day9 and the Day Nights. And so I do a show for the we play games together on the show, and I also do a stream on Saturday, and it's more like just me. What do you have what would be your advice to people who want to do like a show with the community and individual?
I don't see theme it like you have two brands there.
Yeah, sort of.
So I mean, then take each one and look at it separately. Like take a look at what the community show is like, and then create a brand, create a look, create a feel around that, but that promotes community. And then take a look at your brand, the show you do on the weekends, and revolve that around yourself. Who are you? When I go to these are the questions. When I go to your show, who are you? When I go to your community show, who are they? Okay. So I would look at it that way.
Okay, cool.
Hey, I'm looking around the Twitch site. I noticed there seems to be an inherent difficulty with variety streamers establishing a brand because they don't have the solidified ground of like Daisy or H1Z1 and stuff. My question is geared towards variety streamers establishing a brand, not as a single streamer, but as a group. How would you recommend going about at least a starting point for a group establishing?
I guess you have somebody
here has made a brand for a group of streamers.
Oh, I mean, yeah, yes, I'm the designer on main menu as well on the side. And it's when you're creating a brand for a collective, you have to sit down and figure out what your value statement is. What do we stand for? As main menu, we stand for quality content, quality variety content, and it's also the name. So I created a logo that was a camera with 3 lines inside the show menu. It was very simple, but it's something that can be used everywhere. You also have to think of the purpose of the logo. It's going to be on shirts, on hoodies, on overlays. It's going to be shared. It's really, but thinking of it as this is a collective of people. What do we stand for? What is our mission as a group of streamers? And being able to create something that unifies you around that. Whether you guys do a sit-down session, a mood board, or whatever, just like, hey, let's collect our ideas together. Take time to figure out how do you communicate those values in a single piece or a group of pieces of assets for it to show off.
So just use one common.
Find it, yeah. It's something because with like the Streamer House, for instance, it's like being able to have something that everybody on the team is happy with and can proudly show. Mascots are a great. I mean, Neffy for Nerd Fusion. Like you have 5 very different broadcasters, but they all unified around the little mascot, and now that's what they use to represent them.
You really can just have one small and then build upon that. Add your own personality to that mascot. GitHub is a great example of a company that's taken a mascot and put it in infinite scenarios and kind of personalized it for a situation. Whereas you can take a mascot and personalize it for each person, right? So I think that could be something you could look into. Color is a great way to like build an aesthetic or a feel for the community, and then individually you can kind of branch off of that to make it your own, but keeping that sort of underlying meaning or like theme is a good way, I think, to build a community around.
Okay, thank you.
All right, no problem. And before we take you as our last question, we wanted to announce that you'll probably see the slide up here. We will be doing office hours just outside. You can follow Alan. We'll lead you there.
I actually don't know where we are, so don't follow me.
we're right in the alcove, right down there. You can follow us. We'll be all of the members of the design team will be there to answer your questions about anything Twitch, like anything goes, not just brand, but anything on the site that you're interested in. You can ask us there. So, with that said,
okay. So I'm still a pretty small streamer. I'm a variety streamer, but I've worked a lot on my branding. I've got a logo I'm very happy with. I've got a color scheme I'm very happy with. I've got really nice buttons. The issue is that as I'm hearing you guys talk, you're talking a lot about pairing your branding with your personality and pairing your branding with the games you play. And though I'm very happy with the branding that I do have, I haven't really done any of that. So I'm wondering how, with existing branding, do I bring it together with myself and with the games that I play?
What's your channel name?
Canon. First Canon has 1 N, second one has 2 N's, and so like my logo's a little Canon and stuff.
I would like some things on the top of my head is theme it like if you have like say a monochrome logo of a Canon, then like theme it to the game. Like it's just like make it a little cutout.
So for each game,
like,
like
yeah, if you want to do that, but like, what I think your overall, what you're trying to say is that you're fine. I think you're fine.
Yeah.
I don't think we're trying to help people jumpstart their brand, whereas you say you have one that you're comfortable with. Just because it doesn't follow some of the guidelines we had for people that are trying to start doesn't mean you're doing it wrong.
Okay, so as long as I'm happy with what I have, I should
Yes,
just
that is the most important piece of it. Like, I eventually became happy with this, especially after I told the person. I mean, it's like, you know, I mean, it's extremely cute. So manhandle it like that. As long as you're happy with it, that's really what matters. Because then you will evangelize that to your community, how happy you are with your brand, and then they will see that. They'll notice that.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
No problem.
I would also say that you have the luxury of being able to make a brand around your username. Many people have very ambiguous usernames or usernames that can't really make a theme. You've also just taken that luxury of being able to build a brand around a name.
And I'm Tiny Potato. I believe in you, and you can do the thing. You guys can build brands, and I can't wait to see what you guys build. And that is it.